By the way, I typed a 1 in the chat in case anybody didn't know. All right, we have
Daniel getting his small
Daniel.
c-bet. Oh, yeah, 3-bet on the left. Sorry to cut you off there, Marty. And then Daniel went for his small c-bet on the right table, then check back the turn. 3-bet gets called. We get the 9-8-2. Always an interesting board to see in a 3-bet pot.
Definitely. I feel like Doug's and Daniel, like when we see these boards, I've noticed Daniel's always taking a bigger size in single raise and 3-bet pots on these kind of like 2 middle card textures, because he's basically been playing with 2 sizes. And whenever we have like 2 cards 8 through Jack, I feel like we're seeing the like bigger size, the 3/4 sizing in most of his actions.
Yeah, he does seem to break out that bigger size on these more dynamic boards, which is definitely something you'd expect most people to do. Check on the turn now from Daniel in this 20K pot. Turn goes check, check. We get the 6 on the river. Doug's going to be pretty heavy in ace highs and like medium-ish pairs here. He's going to bet the turn with some pairs too, though, kind of for a value-y protection situation. But he's not going to bet all of them because there is a risk of getting check jammed on. Let's see if Doug wants to take the showdown or put in a bet. On the right table, we have a $4,500 pot. Daniel betting $3,400. Doug goes for the 2/3 pot on the left.
So I feel like Doug could be value betting even like pretty thinly here. Like Daniel doesn't really take like he could be value betting an 8 easily here, maybe even a 6. Like he's just not taking very aggressive action. So then his like, river bluff range, he really just has some bluff catchers here. I think he would have bet a value hand like a lot quicker on the river. I don't think he's taking a double check line.
On the right, we have Doug raising this river bet from Daniel. Making it
The
15K.
action was just was turn check check in this hand.
Turn was check check, I believe, and then I based on the pot size, I'm gonna assume Doug just c-bet the flop and then went check check on the turn.
Yeah, it looks like a single raise pot.
Yeah. Nutbluff pointing out that Doug missed his chance to go for the 1-3-3-3-7 size, the elusive 5-figure elite bet.
Yeah, he also missed his chance to go for the 1-4-9-2-20. Shout out to my man Christopher Columbus, 1492. I like to kind of make those bets like 1492, 1776, 1337.
Call from Doug or call from Daniel. Nice call from him. Doug turning the kings into a bluff there. Well, he called with one weak ace. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to call them all. But if he does call with all of his weak aces, then Doug's raise not so good results-wise, considering he has one lower hand. But you never know. Daniel could have been choosing his calls on the river there in a different way. Maybe he decides to prioritize ace-3 over a hand like ace-7 due to blockers. So yeah, it's hard to know if Daniel is actually calling all ace-x there. Small c-bet on the left gets called from Daniel.
So we're seeing him use this bigger size again. This board, not necessarily the one I was talking about, but there are still. So we have the 4th spade on the river. Could maybe get a small block bet from Doug here.
Yeah, you would expect to see a high frequency bet strategy here out of Doug, both with his strong value bets, his thin value bets, and his bluffs. He could even turn a hand like a pair into a bluff here. In fact, he probably should. Ooh, and he's actually value betting with a straight. Great value bet from Doug. Maybe in particular, if Daniel's down a small amount, he's still quite likely to continue playing. It's more so if he's getting whacked. You know, it's pretty normal to quit when you're just getting destroyed in a particular session.
All right, first 4-bet of the match on the left.
It's been a lot of 4-betting in this match. I think more than a lot of people expected as well. We get a call from Daniel. Get a board that's certainly going to be a little bit better for Doug, but it's going to hit Daniel as well. Small bet from Doug, as you'd expect to see in this spot, and it does get through.
All right, so 3-bet pot, Daniel checked on the right, or Doug 3-bet and checked.
I'm perpetually frozen in thought on the stream, apparently. If our stream runner could go ahead and click my video to make it move again.
It was a very pensive look. Like, it looked nice.
Let me try turning off my video. Well, eventually it won't be frozen, guys. I want to focus on the poker. Our guy will fix it.
Two
16K
interesting
pot on the
flops.
left now. Indeed, yeah. We got a big bet from Daniel on the right after Doug
Yeah.
3-bet and checks twice. Daniel's going to take that one down for a nice little pot. 3-bet from Daniel on the right as they play a 16.5K pot on the left. We got some dog battles happening in the background of Marty's house. Good stuff. Sounds like serious business.
Oh
11K
yeah,
bet from Doug on the left.
man of the house trying to protect it.
Can't blame him. A lot of scary things out there. Floyd 1733 asks, how long is it on today? 2 hours at least. So we'll go at least to 4:30. Doug's bet gets through on the left for 20. I think they just sell different sized headphones. Like, I don't think headphones don't like all have to be the same size. There's no like regulations around that as far as I know. Is that the kind of answer you were looking for? Trip nines on the right. Expect to see a small C bet from Daniel, which he does for the minimum.
So which one of us is getting headphone shamed? You or me? Like,
I don't even
yours are
know.
small or mine are big?
I don't know. Doug goes for the check raise and gets called.
Definitely an interesting board to check raise on. Obviously, because Daniel has the
Yeah, you'd expect, as what
yeah.
Marty's saying there is like Daniel has like, the aces, kings, queens, so it's not really a spot where Doug should be doing too much raising. That
Yeah.
said, versus a tiny quarter pot size or fifth pot size that Daniel uses,
Yeah.
it does make sense for Doug to start putting in some raises with even hands like
Yeah.
pocket fives at some frequency for protection, and then of course with a 9 for value. He goes for the 4K bet on the river, interesting size. Doug with quads on the left, super full house. He's going to win a 5K pot. Doug has the 2. His blocked bet on the river gets called by Daniel's aces. Daniel.
So hard to follow the community, or even for me as someone who hasn't played Heads Up No Limit in years, or never even really played competitively in the way that you or Doug did. Like, I don't even know who is considered to be the top Heads Up player now.
Honestly, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
And if I had to bet, I would bet that it's not a name that a lot of people know. Like, even within the
Yeah.
poker community, I would bet it's like, yeah, because Heads Up Poker really is kind of underground now. You kind of have to scrape together your action. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
big sites that have Heads Up tables at high stakes. So
Yeah.
whereas, a few years ago, you could just open up PokerStars and see who's battling at 50, 100. These days, you can't really do that. So it's hard to really know who's on top.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems it would be hard to follow, but I guess that makes it fun as well.
Yeah, very true.
It's I feel like the old school of Heads Up players, like, I'm the best. I want everybody to know I'm the best. I think all these people suck. These people are okay. But you kind of just did that to rile up action and talk back and forth. And now it seems like the best players just keep their mouths shut and don't talk at all.
Often true for sure. Patrick versus Durr. That one actually should still be going. They are currently in the middle of the Durr Challenge. This week, towards the end of the week, is going to be the time to pull the trigger for sure. Prices do not get lower all year unless we run like some random promo for a specific course. But in terms of site-wide sales, this is the lowest price you're going to get. And just a little quick heads up, on the Wednesday stream, we are going to be sharing an early bird coupon code. So if you just can't even wait, you just can't wait until Thanksgiving, you want to get into a course, go ahead and join the Wednesday stream, and we will be.
So
nice
check
line,
back
S.
flop. Doug's going for a probe here. I would expect him to follow through on this river card pretty frequently.
Quite a brick.
It's using a small size again. Daniel's raised this twice already. Third time.
See what Doug decides to do here. Both players certainly have a lot of strong hands in their range here.
I don't think Daniel would have checked back a flush draw on the flop. I mean, he very well could have, but so I feel like he's repping like weaker than a flush here.
Yeah, I mean, he could have. There's some flushes. I mean, he certainly should be checking back some flush draws, but
Yeah.
Hard to know how Daniel approaches it. Should definitely have some though. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Does get called. Daniel does have. That's a huge. That's a really interesting.
And a flush.
That's a really interesting check back on the flop from Daniel.
Yeah.
That's a huge draw. You would really expect that to be like probably the highest frequency bet, but not positive. Daniel now raising another river on the left. Simon Wilson asked, is the lab discounted? Yes, the Upswing Lab, which is our most popular course. Daniel's raise getting value. Really nice value with that king on the river there.
All right, takes it down.
Tomatio67 asks, who has the private solver? It's Canu7. If you go on his Twitter, Alex Miller, he posted a video talking about it. That's probably your quickest way to learn more about it. I don't want to spend a bunch of airtime talking about a solver. But if you go on Alex Miller Canu7's Twitter, you'll see a video from him probably like 8 months ago, but he never tweets, so it's going to be like the 5th tweet. Small C bet from Daniel on the right, 2K into 8K.
All right. Is Daniel going to barrel here again, or just take a check line? He barrels. Like, this is a really weird spot for Doug because a lot of his hands that aren't kings are going to be like ace high floats that he flatted 3-bet with. And Daniel obviously has the range advantage. All right. So Doug could easily have like ace X of hearts on the right if he were to have floated flop.
Yep.
So he has the flushes in his range.
Daniel is all in. Quick call from
Whoa,
Doug.
Caught him speeding.
Damn, that is
time to get the maracas out.
So for those of you who don't know, Doug did a challenge with Sauce123. I think it was back in 2013, 2014, around then. Sauce was kind of, I'm not positive he was like the big boss of Heads Up at the time, but he was certainly like considered one of the elite best players. Doug and him did a 15,000 hand challenge, and Doug won by like, I want to say 30 buy-ins or something. He won 700K plus 100K side bet. Yeah, I've been impressed that Daniel's been able to keep it close for sure. And I think his post flop play has been like, to me, surprisingly good. I don't mean to I don't mean to reveal that I had low expectations for Daniel, but I somewhat did, and he has surpassed them. Also, just like, you got to give credit to Daniel just for playing this challenge. Like, saying yes was already like that. To me, that was the biggest boost in possible respect for Daniel that could have happened for like me in particular, and I think a lot of other people. But yeah, I think it's also just a little too early to tell for sure like what's really happening right now in the challenge. Chopping up with a jack.
Yeah, I would. I definitely think Daniel came out a lot stronger than what I expected. I'll pause for a second. We got some action on the left. Doug overbet the turn. All right, that was a good no club.
Yeah, well played from Doug there to make sure the river's not a club. Good river play.
Yeah, so like, I obviously knew this bet was coming up, and I grinded a lot of the WSOP on GG. And when I was winding down days, I was always kind of watching Daniel stream to see how he approached tournaments or talked about tournaments, and seeing the way he reacted emotionally to some of the pots. I didn't have nearly as high of hopes for him coming into this either. So he's definitely surprised me.
1.5x river bet from Doug on the right. He's bluffing. Daniel looking him up with top pair. Nice call from Daniel. I'm not related to Wayne Brady, unfortunately, Grutson. At least not close enough to know about it. Or Tom. None of the famous Bradys.
You're a famous Brady to me, Mike.
Thank you. Someone just tried to set me up for a Bofa D's nuts joke in the chat. Respect it. Really respect that.
You faded it though?
I did. I almost said what in chat.
All right. So left table, we have a big pot brewing. Pot size bet left on the river.
See what Doug decides to do. All in. Daniel, quick call. Miss straight draw for Doug. Toops for Daniel. C bet from Daniel on the right, 3-bet on the left. Doug calls on the right. We get the 4 straight on the turn. That's going to be a little bit better for Doug in general, but both players.
Very interesting boards.
Definitely.
All right.
What did I say Doug was in for earlier? Like 150, right?
Yeah.
So they're about even now, guys. Approximately. 21K pot on the left. This is probably going to decide who's ahead for today. Flush completes on the turn.
That is interesting. I'm not really familiar with these kind of stack to pot ratios, but I don't really see what that bet accomplishes.
Yeah, at this stack depth, I don't think it could possibly
Yeah.
be like a high something you should do at a
Yeah.
decent frequency. But we'll see. Maybe Daniel's doing something exploitative or something like that.
Yeah.
22K from Daniel, almost set all in.
This is a weird line.
It really is. My guess is he has some sort of thin value bet.
Yeah.
See what Doug decides to do. Doug using his smaller 3-bet size as he has been on the right. He mixes in the smaller 3-bet size when they get deeper. Interesting, possibly counterintuitive strategy, but interesting for sure. Doug really in the tank on this left table. More than likely not raising after a tank like this, which makes me like Daniel's chances a little bit more in this pot.
This is killing me with anticipation.
It would be pretty savage to see a jam after this, but I don't see that happening. We have a call. Daniel. Thin value bet indeed with the kings.
Ugh.
Nice hand, Daniel. He's going to take a nice lead. Small C bet on the left from Daniel gets through. 3-bet from the right on for Daniel.
Someone says Mike was out hiring a hitman for that Tanner guy. I hope not.
Fucking Tanner, man. Had enough of that guy. Getting the best of me for years. All right, Occam's Razor wants to see the dog. You got it. Large C bet from Daniel on the right gets called. 7 on the turn here. Daniel does slow down as you'd expect him to do.
I would expect Doug to make a pretty small bet with a lot of his range here. I think there's a pretty good advantage to doing that. You're really not going to get raised. You have a lot of draws that can realize their equity and keep barreling. Or even with like an 8, you can just get some showdown value in position.
Double paired board now. Daniel checks over to Doug. Check, check. Daniel with the boat. So Daniel's in for about 150 by my count, so that would put him up about 20K this session. Sorry, we're going to update that middle thing for you guys in a bit. Couple small pots going on right here. By the way, guys, we will be back for another session on Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's 22:30 GMT. I think. I'm not really familiar with those 24-hour clocks. Yeah, we'll be back. It'll be me and Jeff Boski commentating on Wednesday. Then we have a very special treat on Saturday. We've got Nick Schulman and Jamie Kerstetter going to be calling the action for you guys.
Oh, wow, that's going to be a fun week of commentary. I'm excited for both.
Yeah, should be good. Daniel winning a nice pot with a 3 on the right.
Be cooking all my Thanksgiving food on Thursday, so the Wednesday stream should be a lot of fun. Just have it on the TV in the living room. All right, pretty. Oh, Doug went all in
for Doug. No snap call from Daniel. Looks like Daniel's in at least somewhat of a tough spot. It's a big jam from Doug. I want to say it's a little over pot, but you know, math.
Hand is on the maracas, just waiting to see which way this hand goes.
You have to like chuck them if it goes poorly.
Yeah.
Chuck them against that window behind you. Hear some glass shattering. Daniel tanked with a straight. Wow.
All you can eat, boys.
Daniel, almost as if he knew he was beat there. He did give a long tank there. Certainly not a hand he could. Four bet from Daniel on the left.
Oh, they're getting very deep as well. Over 200 big blinds.
Yeah, we could see a big pot on that left table. 4-bet from. Oh, did I already say that? 200 blinds deep to start this hand. We could see our first 400 blind pot of the match if this goes a certain way. It like refreshed for a second, but it's still there.
All right.
I think we might have.
4-bet pot.
We might have just got a host or something because we just picked up like 1,000 viewers. So that's cool. Thanks for joining us, guys. Whoever's new. We're here with 200, 400 action between Doug and Daniel. We have a 4-bet pot on the left here where Daniel made it about 11K pre, 200 blinds deep. Now he's betting a 5th pot, as he often does and should in 4-bet pots.
Oh, that's dirty, Doug. That's a dirty raise.
Very small
not
raise.
Want to be playing against that. 200 big blinds deep. Pretty quick call.
Yeah, Daniel calls 9 on the turn. That I would think that's quite a bit better for Doug. He's going to have more of those.
I would too. Like king jack suited kind of hands.
Yeah, Daniel's not really.
And those make a lot of sense as a flop raise as well, since they're blocking like the Kings, king queen and queen jack kind of hands. Not that those are always going to 4-bet, but we have seen both players have those in their 4-bet range so far.
Particularly the offsuit combos.
Yeah,
they tend to call the suited ones as they should.
Yeah.
Check, check. River completes the 4 straight and the flush. Really interesting card in a 4-bet pot here. 40 in the middle, 43K in the middle. It's got about 150% pot behind. Doug's all in.
All in.
Could be the biggest pot of the match here if Daniel calls. Say it will be. But Daniel folds. Big one to Doug.
Turning up the heat.
If anything, I think our estimate in the middle is underestimating how much Doug is up, but don't quote me on that because it could be slightly off. 3/4 pot, double barrel for Daniel on the left gets through.
Doug with the 3-bet on the right.
Ace 9-5 flop. You'd expect a lot of C-bets from Doug here, and he goes for the small one.
All right. Going for a big double barrel here.
Gets called. Ooh, that's a diamond on the river. That's probably going to be a little better for Daniel. Daniel's going to call with more flush draws.
I would assume so as well, especially similar spot to earlier where the ace, the top pair on the board, is not of a diamond. So
for Doug. The nutters for Daniel. Straight for Doug. Very cooler river. Doug is probably up about 35K right now, approximately. So that estimate in the middle is about right, even though it's 10 minutes behind. The guy who asked for a movie rec wants another one. Ugh.
Well, when you give a moose a muffin, this is what you get.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna play tight with my movie recs right now. Mark asks, I just sent an email to Upswing. When should I get a reply? Talking about how people kind of use it as a poker helpline, not to ask about actual Upswing stuff. I'm going to be the one who answers it, and it'll be like this week. I answer them like once a week usually. If you ask like a support question, our support team will see it. Can't check it every day.
I feel like you've really opened the strategy floodgates now as well. Might be a slippery slope you're on.
It's fine with me. If people want to spend time emailing back and forth with an at Upswing Poker email, that is fine with me. Check raise from Doug on. Check raise bluff from Daniel on the right. Quick call from Doug with the straight. X, I wish the dog would stop too. She's relentless sometimes, man. Let me tell you. But we do our best to control her. She's being cute right now under my feet, so should be fine. We're also dog sitting another dog, so that's kind of not the best timing for a stream necessarily. Oh, this guy's chat sucks. Get out of here. Small C-bet from the right from Daniel. His usual 400 into 2K. Double barrel for 3/4. Gets called. We get the 5 on the river. Let's see if Daniel decides to put in the 3rd barrel. He does. 5,200 into 7K.
All right, we still got some action.
Indeed. Sweating a riverbed here from Daniel on the right. He triple barreled after opening. Call. Daniel with a nice value, but with an ace. Getting a nice 3 streets.
Oh, that's a nice one. The chat asked what kind of tequila we were drinking. We just have some Don Julio 70. Nothing that great, just left over from a party. But what I'll do, any 20K loss, For any 20K loss for Daniel in a pot, we will take the shot. Because I feel like if it's a full buy-in, Doug's never gonna. We haven't seen too many full stacks go in so far, and I'm trying to drink some at this point.
Daniel 3-bets and then checks the flop. Let's see what he decides to do here. He goes for about a quarter pot size bet, a little more. Hey, no more. 13.5K going into the river. $10K from Daniel. Let's see what Doug decides to do here. Doug's going to win a small pot with a 9 on the left.
This could be a tequila pot.
Just so you know, the chat was warning me. Oh, call. Nice value bet from Daniel with the 10.
Don't drink alcohol on stream.
So yeah, 29. My mistake. My own guess was wrong at first.
Right. So Doug flats a 3-bet on the right, and he 3-bets on the left. Like I said, you can just see the difference in pot size based. Like obviously Daniel's is using a larger 3-bet size. Doug's using a smaller 3-bet size. All right, we have a
overbet from Doug on the left. About 120% pot. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this in a 3-bet pot yet.
Yeah.
Not out of position.
Yeah, the flop overbets really hadn't come out until today, I feel like.
I think I had seen 1 or 2, but not in this spot at all. 7 diamonds on the turn is going to be a little better for Daniel, for sure.
Yeah. And Doug's getting raised huge on the queen 7, queen flop.
Yeah, Daniel going for the check raise after 3-betting there. Small bet from Daniel on the left. That's definitely a good spot to go for the small bet. 9 of clubs on the river pairs the board. Let's see what Daniel decides to do. He's got about a pot-sized bet left. Doug's going to win it with a strong top pair. Nice pot for Doug. Daniel checking the turn now on the right. And Doug's going for a 1/3 pot bet. Daniel does call. And we're going to take a river.
It looks like this might be a drinker on the right.
Could be a drinker. I don't see Doug having too many floats on the flop versus the check raise. Like, I mean, maybe some like a king 10 of hearts or something like that could be in there that like could bluff with. But I think a lot of his range is just going to be value. Daniel, I'm really interested to see what he has to check raise the flop and then check call the turn. I mean, it could be just the kind of obvious answer is like a jack. Like, you know, he check raises as a bluff, turns a jack, decides to check call at that point. Now he's in a really tough spot if that is the case. Betting the flop, then calling the check raise with ace high, picking up a draw, bluffing there, now bluffing the river. Maybe a hand like even... it's kind of hard to imagine many more than like ace 10, ace 9, specifically something like that. I don't even know if hands like ace 9 peel, because they can't really turn too much.
All
Daniel
right.
does fold, perhaps agreeing with me. But even if they did, Doug's not going to be a stickler about this. Like, I mean, if Daniel was consistently playing at like 30K deep, 25K deep, something like that, Doug would definitely say something and not like that. But I mean, it's pretty clearly, or at least is likely, an honest mistake from Daniel to not reload, like just not realizing. Doug's not going to be a stickler about that. At the most, he'll shoot Daniel a text saying, "Hey, can you reload?"
Yeah, someone just said in the chat, ask Doug what he folded to a min 3-bet. Yeah, I want to know that as well. So good question.
Yeah, great one.
The Doug I know would slap me upside the head and tell me to never do that.
He like literally had to have like 7-3 off, right? Or something like that. Like
Yeah.
literally the worst hand in his open
Mm.
range. Tyler WX, maybe he's not topping up because he went broke. I know you're kidding, but just so people know, he's not. He said it on Twitter, and no reason not to believe him. He deposited $1 million for the match, and he has not lost $1 million, obviously. So he has plenty.
We don't know how bad his practices went. I've seen him in the street. Well, I've heard he's been in the streets, but I don't think he dumped $1 million practicing.
I mean, he didn't really play higher than like 25-50, so it wouldn't even be possible, really. Big check raise from Doug on the right.
That is, well, compared to some of the sizes we've seen, it's not quite as beefy, but still.
Still big. Daniel getting 3-2, approximately. What's Daniel gonna do? He does call Doug.
Oh,
Trip
well,
twos.
not a good call there.
Every course on the site, 25% off. So if you want to improve your skills, this week is the time to get into one of the courses. Lowest price we offer all year on basically all the courses. So check it out. Upswing Lab, for most people, that's going to be the best option. If you're a no limit person who plays maybe live tournaments, if you're a bit of a hybrid player, and if you play, one game type super seriously, I recommend checking the advanced courses we have for those game types. We have a great one from Nick Petrangelo, great one from Canu7, great one from Kane Callis on short deck. A lot of great stuff, so go check it out. Starts on Thursday.
Sorry to interrupt here. We dug small check raise on the flop on the right. It was like 1,500 to 3,800, and he's making a pretty small C bet after check raise on the turn. All right.
Makes sense that he goes small there. It does get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am frozen, guys. Sorry. This for some reason, like Discord looks fine, but the video, like one aspect of the stream freezes sometimes. If anyone knows like what's going on there, that would be great if you tweeted at me at MBradyCF. I know we got a lot of tech wizards. Big bet from Daniel on the left in this 20K pot. He bets 15K. He's only got 15K behind. If Doug were to put him in, it would only be about a min raise. Doug does call. Daniel's got less than a third pot left.
It's be interesting to see what we have to do in this spot. All right, Daniel checks.
Checks. That's got to be good for Doug, and it is. Doug wins with the 9.
That's not good for me, though, I tell you what.